Hi everyone and welcome. It's the Game Week 14 FPL deadline stream. I'm FPL Matt Day. I'm joined tonight by special guest Quinton Dunn from the FPL Amateurs of Oz. We can't wait for this game week. There's obviously potentially some big news, with a Haaland injury, which we are going to discuss on this stream. If you are new around here, if you can please like the video, get your comments in, get all your questions in for Game Week 14, and give the channel a subscribe if you haven't done already. Also, check out Quinton's content, FPL Amateurs of Oz. As you can see, his handle there is on the screen. Go check him out, check out his website, and check out his Twitter and his Instagram as well. What we're going to do tonight on the stream is we're going to go through the Fantasy Football Scout 11. So we're going to share that soon, and we're going to go through it. And me and Q are going to pick our players that we think maybe should be in this 11 instead of the ones that are on there. And then we're going to do live Q&A. So any questions that do come in throughout the pod, we will be bringing them up, answering them, and just chatting all things FPL before the deadline. We are an hour and a half until the Game Week 14 deadline. So yeah, be sure to get your questions in so we can do our best to help you out. And everyone in the comments can help each other out as well. I'll bring up some comments in a second, but before I do, I'll bring Quinton in now at FPL Amateurs of Oz. First of all, Q, how you doing, mate? And how you feeling about the potential Haaland injury news?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. And even though I do own Haaland, I wasn't going to captain him this week, so I'm actually cheering. So it's better in the works at FPL, and people are going to have to do what they did, was it last week, when they blanked and go with someone else. So I like it, mate. I like this week already.
I had a feeling you'd be happy about potentially no Haaland. Before we get into the Game Week 14 Scout 11 from the Fantasy Football Scout that we're going to review, we'll bring up some comments. We've had one that's come in from Onto the Ball, regular watcher of the streams, which is awesome. He says, will Haaland play or not? I can't take the suspense. Yeah, look, we're on edge a little bit about it as well. I haven't made my transfer yet. Obviously, for those, I think, you were tuned into last night's stream and you were in the stream, and then I was saying I was looking to roll my transfer. And now I'm kind of like, if Haaland's not going to play, an hour and a half till deadline, do I make a quick move, take him out for maybe a Harry Kane, and then bring Haaland back next week because I've got the money to do so. So we will see. But I'm hoping whilst we're in this stream, we do get some news or some clarification from somewhere. But thanks for coming into the stream. Football Ferreira has come in. Big up my brother. Another great channel. Always comes into the streams and always comes in with some really good comments as well. FPLI's Manchester City fan himself, Steve McDonald, has just heard Haaland has heartburn from eating his cornflakes too fast, and he is in serious doubt. So there you go. Inside information from FPL Eyes. And the Damo, FPL West Ham, he is Quinton's partner in crime on the FPL Amateurs of Oz podcast, giving us a good evening. PSB, amazing to see both you, Matty and Q, looking sharp. Thanks, mate. I've gone with the Spurs top this week, so I had a feeling Q would wear that red Man United kit. Yeah, I had a feeling you'd do that, but yeah, what we'll do, we'll quickly bring in these couple of questions that are coming. One's for Q. Q, are you going Salah captain again, or have you washed your hands? I'm doing it one last time.
Yeah, I'm going Salah captain, mate. It's going to be red panty night in the Q household because he's going to haul, mate. So get aboard.
Awesome. So Q is he's joining the Salah train. He's hoping he's going to get his heart broken one last time.
Fourth time lucky.
Fourth time lucky. Yeah, fourth time lucky for Q, possibly here. And we've got a great comment here from Trons for Remy. Finally got free time to see you again, and thanks for being active on my tweets. No worries, mate, at all. Love seeing your tweets coming through. Actually, I will say for those that are tuning in right now, my tweets will not tweet at the moment. I can't tweet. I can directly message on Twitter. For some reason, Twitter has decided to kick me off Twitter for 6 days. And I'm not able to tweet, and I actually don't know why. So I've complained to Twitter. So it's a bit of a pain. But we will see what happens there. But great to have you back. Bora TV's good. Great to have him in. Haven't seen you on a stream for a couple now, so it's great to have you back on, mate. He says that Guardiola has said Alvarez is ready. So, yeah, that could be
Actually an
huge.
interesting
You
pick.
know, I think it was Shireen, one of the watchers of our podcast, is looking at bringing Alvarez in. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that one, Q?
Yeah, actually, I like that shout because I leading into the season, I thought he was a gun, and I was like, oh, he's not going to get much game time. But he's shown this season that if he does get the game time, he can bang goals in. And, Leicester's defense, I think, even though it's been probably a bit better lately, I still think that they're going to concede goals. And I think if he is starting, there's a good chance he's going to be scoring them.
Yeah, I agree. And one of the viewers last night did say that they're looking to try and bring him in and maybe take out Edouard. I know you've got Edouard in your side, and they've obviously got Southampton at home. Is that a move that you would make, or would you not do it?
Yeah, actually, I don't mind that. I'm probably going to keep Edouard for me. But even if you're happy to take out Haaland for 1 week, I like that move. Well, as I said to Matt before the stream started, it if I was to get Haaland out, I really don't want to go without a City asset heading into this Leicester fixture. So I like that idea.
No, good stuff. And you haven't thought about maybe doing a De Bruyne for Salah move? I know obviously you're looking at captaining Salah, but you haven't thought about maybe captaining De Bruyne instead?
No, I'm staying truthful to me, Salah, mate. I've got to back him in just one more time.
Good stuff from Q. All right, so what we'll do, everyone get your questions in as the stream continues. Get your comments in, get your thoughts in, and we'll do a live Q&A soon towards the end of the pod. We're going to share the screen. We're going to bring up the Fantasy Football Scouts 11 for the game week. So we're going to share the screen, and we're going to bring up this Scout 11 so everyone can see for game week 14. So they've gone with a 3-5-2 formation. There is no Haaland in the Scout picks final selection. Obviously, he's got a bench there, which I think most of the benches, I think this is within the £100 million budget. So the bench, there's a couple of players like Greenwood and Bueno there who probably aren't going to be players that you'd start. So, look, let's go from goalkeeper all the way through to the midfielders and the forwards queue. And let's have a look at this 11 and see if there's anyone else we think would be better. So in goal, they've gone with Raya from Brentford, who are playing Wolves at home. Wolves obviously have this terrible goal scoring record. I think they've only scored one away goal all season. Do you think he's the best keeper for this week? I know he's my number one in my team. I think he's the number one in your team as well. Do you think they've got this one right?
Yeah, I'm going to take my bias aside. I still think he's probably the best pick this week because I think Wolves are going to create enough chances where they're going to get shots, but I don't think they're going to be high quality chances, and I could see Raya getting save points, possibly a clean sheet, and then we all know what happens then as he gets the bonus as well. So I think at worst this week, you might be looking at 3-4 points, and at best you could be looking at another 10 plus.
Yeah, good stuff. And what about Pope or Ramsdale? Obviously, Nick Pope's got Aston Villa at home. You'd look at that and you'd probably think, maybe another clean sheet for Newcastle. I know Villa did score 4 goals last week, but was it a one-off? They've obviously not been great this season and don't have a manager. And then you've also got Ramsdale playing against Forest at home, who have only scored 1 away goal this season. So, do you think either of them are better options for this week, or are you pretty certain on David Raya?
I think Ramsdale's probably the best option, but he is more expensive. So that's why I think Raya, for me, takes it and Ramsdale close second. But, yeah, I think that Aston Villa, I reckon there's more of a chance of Aston Villa scoring than Wolves scoring against Raya. So for me, that sort of tips the hat to Raya.
No, I love that. And I think, for me, I'd probably say Raya as well. The fact that Wolves have only scored 1 goal on the road this season, and Brentford have had pretty solid defence for the most part. It's been a couple of games that have imploded, but they've mainly been away from home. I think David Raya is a good pick there. We had a question coming from Tim Buck in the comments. We're going to go through a Q&A once we've finished with the Scout 11. But welcome to the stream. Everyone that's joined into the stream, if you can just hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done already, and get the comments in as well. So let's go with the defence. They've gone with a back 3. So there is some Newcastle coverage in there. We did obviously speak about Newcastle before. They've gone with Kieran Trippier. He's obviously very highly owned. He's returned in every game with the exception of, I think, 3 this season. So what do you think on that one, Q? I personally think it's makes sense. You kind of can't go a game week without Kieran Trippier at the moment. Newcastle are on form, and even if they were to concede, the fact that he's still getting assists and he's that big set piece threat as well, I think it's just a no-brainer there. But what do you think there, Q?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that Trippier has such good attacking upside, and Villa, I don't think, are great defensively. And we've seen multiple weeks now that Trippier is getting those balls into the box, and unfortunately, we're not getting sort of the finish on the end. But I think Wilson's a good pick this week, so I think Wilson and Trippier are going to combine for a goal this week.
Good stuff. And we know Q loves his Newcastle picks, and Trippier was one of his picks from the start of the season. So credit to Q, who's had the faith in Trippier all season. Just a comment that's come in here from Wing. It's great to have you on the stream, mate. It's been a while since I've seen you in a stream, so it's absolutely awesome to have you here. Good morning to you as well from myself and Q. A couple more comments that have also come in. Questions for the for me and Q. We will go through the Q&A after we've gone through the Scout 11. If there's any players in the Scout 11 you don't think should be in here, let us know in the comments as well. Football Forever with some really nice comments here. Big up to everyone in this live. And as also said, great football knowledge here from everyone. It's beautiful to see. We really appreciate that, mate. So we've gone into Trippier and Raya so far. We've put Eric Dyer in there. Look, for me, I think I can see potentially Spurs winning this game 1-0 or 2-0. Obviously, a lot of their games, maybe with the exception of 1 or 2, have been quite drab affairs. So I can see, why Dyer's in there. I think Bournemouth may not have Solanke, which will obviously mean their attacking threat isn't quite there. I said this in last night's pod as well. In the Champions League against Lisbon, Dyer almost could have had a hat-trick from set pieces. The amount of headers he missed from close range. And he's also scored, I think it's from 2 or 3 set pieces this week. And obviously Spurs aren't, flying out the blocks lately. So it is the set pieces where they might actually get the goals. And Bournemouth are without their keeper, Neto. So, there could be some potential for a clean sheet and a bit of a set piece threat here with Eric Dyer. What do you think on that one, Q? Do you think Eric Dyer is a good pick within this 11, or do you think we should stay clear and put someone else in?
Yeah, I don't mind actually, because I think Spurs are going to get a clean sheet this weekend. So I don't mind that. And we've seen this season he does get involved in the bonus as well. So, and for his price as well, I think it's good value.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of Spurs goals have been from set pieces, probably nearly at least 20 or 30% of the goals. So I think it makes sense. I was looking at trying to bring a Spurs defender in on the draft. Obviously, you got to play the fixture. I couldn't find anyone. The only one that was available on the draft version of the game was Sanchez, who they think might play. But then when I sort of thought about Sanchez playing, I thought probably means a clean sheet won't happen. So we'll go on to the third defender, Ben White, in a second. We're just going to bring up some comments. There has been one from Amir with a goalkeeper question. We're going to bring that on at the end. A comment from True Guna. Big up. Great to have you in the stream, mate. Obviously, I've seen some of your vlogs, which have been really good lately. Football Forever does agree with me on Spurs, which is good to hear. And then we had a one here on Delo. I think we might have had a question about Delo, so we'll bring this question up again later. Martin Watchhorn, this is Wrestling Film. It's not a game week until FPL Matt is live. Thanks, mate. Really, really appreciate the support. And then what we'll do, another comment, thanks from True Guna. Keep up the good work, Matt. What we would do, and here we go as well. True Guna is exciting. He's having a live stream with big YouTube Nottingham Forest fan. So that should be interesting. A bit of a Arsenal Forest rivalry on the True Guna YouTube page. So go check it out if you haven't done. Let's go into Ben White then. He's been a very popular pick in a lot of teams I've seen this week. I did suggest him on last night's stream. I said if you had a spare defender space and you wanted to bring someone in, and you couldn't get to say Saliba, then Ben White's probably the next best option for me. and he's on the ball. He's very comfortable on the ball, which obviously for FPL means if you're good on the ball and you're getting a lot of touches on the ball, you'll always get bonus points. So I think for his price as well, Forest at home, he is a good pick to round up that back three. Thoughts, Q, or do you think there's someone else that's better in that back three?
No, I like White. He's looked really good. I was a bit disappointed because I was close to getting him in the other week and I didn't just because of the blank. And he's looked really good.
No,
He's
good
looking a lot
stuff.
more
I
attacking
pretty much.
previously than he used to.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that back three is fine. I think a back three makes sense. I'm pretty happy with this formation. So let's go into the midfield. We've got Salah, Almiron, Saka, Eze, and De Bruyne. We'll start with De Bruyne because he is on the early game. I think that's a fair shout, especially if Haaland isn't playing. There's going to be a lot more weight on De Bruyne's shoulders. More opportunities for De Bruyne to get shots on goal. Okay, he's probably going to miss the assists that he keeps giving to Haaland, but I think it makes sense in this Leicester game. I know he's got a good record at this stadium. I remember an absolute screamer that he scored here. I think it might have been last season. But yeah, I think De Bruyne's a good shout. Q, what do you think on De Bruyne?
Yeah, I think especially for this fixture, and then if Haaland's out, that makes him even more appealing. So yeah, I like it.
Good stuff. And then next to him, you can see Eze. I know that was a pick of yours, Q. You've had him for the last few game weeks. He's got you 2 double-digit scores in that time. It was one of my differential picks for this week with the Southampton home game. And I did actually credit yourself, Q, on the podcast last night, saying it was one of my picks for this week, but it's been one of your picks for the last month. So Eze at home to Saints. I think I was saying he's getting on the ball a lot, in and around the box, really dangerous areas. He's cheap. Thoughts on him, Q? You pretty happy with that pick from the Scout 11?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident in him. I think I've had him since game week 8, so finally we're seeing a better attack from Crystal Palace, and he's on set pieces. He's pretty much integral to how they want to attack, and even though Zaha usually gets the returns, I think Eze is going to be featured heavily again this week.
No, I agree. I think Eze is a good shout. There's probably not many in this midfield that I would look at and say that they've got wrong this week, because we go on to the next one, which is Saka, who's got Nottingham Forest at home. No-brainer for me. I think he has to be in there, especially if he remains on pens as well. You obviously want some Arsenal coverage in that midfield for this game. Forest haven't won on the road. They've scored 1 goal all season away from home. Arsenal have obviously been on really good form this season, so I can't really say anything against Saka right now. So yeah, Q, do you think he deserves to be in there, or do you think he shouldn't be in there? I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, I think he has the highest upside for points. He's on pens. He's one of those players we saw the start of last season where he was always involved in attack but was never getting the finished product. But lately, he's the one who's getting the finished product. And when he's on fire, you just have to go with him because you're going to miss out on these massive hauls. And I think this is definitely a good fixture for them this week. And I could see him being heavily involved again.
No, I agree. We have had some questions come in, so just to let everyone know that is watching. Once we've gone through the Scout 11, we are going to bring up the Q&A and go through it. So don't worry, we will be there. And I've seen PSB join the stream, and he's made a very good point, which I'm going to bring up once we've gone through the strikers. Brett, FPL Shake and Bake said, loving the Ben White love, brought him in myself. Yeah, I agree. I think he is a very good pick for this game week. And then Wing did come in and say, just to remind everyone, the Cherries have kept out the most dangerous opposition player the whole season to 2 assists, Jesus and Haaland. So he isn't wrong there. He isn't wrong. Look, I think, obviously, we'll speak about Harry Kane in a second. I've got a couple of stats from him in this Bournemouth fixture, but that is a very good comment. And then Steve McDonald said, Elon Musk is a massive Arsenal fan. Since officially owning Twitter, Matt Day gets suspended. He's not wrong. I think Elon Musk saw my account and decided to suspend me. So yeah, pretty disappointed. But look, if you do still want to chat on Twitter for the next week, you can always DM me. So the next two we've got Almiron from Newcastle. He's hit some huge scores lately. I think it's been about 35 points in the last 4 or 5 game weeks, a couple of double-digit scores. He's got Villa at home again in a Scout 11. If you've got, if you look at this as a free hit team, because that's what this basically is, you pretty much have to say Almiron goes on there. from his recent form. He's scoring for fun regardless of the fixture. So again, like I think they're nailing the Scout 11 queue. Like, what do you think on Almiron? Have you thought about bringing him in for the game week or?
Oh, I've been so tempted this week to get him, but where I'm at this week is I just don't know who I'd start him for. So that's probably what stopped me. But definitely, he's such a good pick, and he's looking an electric player. And a lot of people say it's knee jerk, but he's looked really good for about 8 weeks now. He just looks on fire. And with St. Max not fully fit, he's sort of on the bench. I don't think he's going to be starting anytime soon. And Almiron's sort of just taken that position, and it's going to take an absolutely woeful performance from him to lose that spot.
No, I agree. And obviously the Villa home game is a good fixture for Newcastle. Newcastle are a team on form. And you make a very good point there, Q, about St. Maximum, who has been injured. He's still yellow flagged. And whilst he's injured, Almiron keeps getting the starts. He's on form. He's getting the goals. He's getting the returns. So again, another good pick from the Scout 11. Question here. Sorry, not question, just a hello from Lexich. He was in last night's deadline stream. Great to have you in, mate. It's great to see so many people in the comments and watchers for the stream tonight. If you can just give the channel a subscribe if you haven't done, like the video, get your comments in ready for the game week. We're an hour and 9 minutes away from deadline. We are waiting on Haaland news in the chat. Me and Q on the stream are waiting for Haaland news. So any news that comes in, get it in the comments. And also the guest tonight, Q, give him a follow. I'm just going to bring up his handle now at FPL Amateurs of Oz on Twitter, Instagram, the internet. He's everywhere, and he's laughing because he has changed his handle recently. So I'm still getting to grips with the pronunciation of his handle. But yeah, good stuff. And then we go to our last midfielder. We've got the man in there, Mo Salah, 3 goals this season. Really disappointing for FPL this season. Still a premium asset. Plays Leeds. Got a hat-trick at Anfield against them a couple of years ago in the lockdown season. He's been a real frustrating player to own this year. What do you think on that one, Q? Like, do you think he deserves to be in the Scout 11, or do you think, he shouldn't be there? He should be replaced by another midfielder, and maybe we should have, or maybe Salah leaves the team, and then this turns into a 3-4-3, and we go with Darwin Núñez up front. Or do you think they've got it right with Salah based on his hat trick against Leeds a couple of years ago? For me, I think I get it. I kind of get it because it is Salah, and we've all got that nostalgia of playing Salah in FPL. So I think it's probably just about right. But do you think, Q, maybe they could drop him and then go 3-4-3 and bring Núñez in instead?
No, I think Salah's going to be the best option. Núñez, he'll score a goal, but he might need about 8 shots. Whereas Salah, we've seen in the past, all it takes is just a half chance in the box and he scores. So I think they're going to try to come out and make a statement because they have been poor outside of the Champions League. And I think this is the game they're going to come out and make a statement. I think Salah is going to make a statement as well. And I think this is going to be a big week for Salah and people that have hung on to him like myself and, braved the lows. So we're looking for the highs now.
We are, but will it happen? I feel like it is a bit of a broken record with Salah, with Liverpool, with FPL right now. But that's the midfield. It's the 5-man midfield. A couple of players that I think could potentially be in that midfield that haven't been mentioned. Alex Iwobi, who I spoke about on the pod last night. Fulham away. Fulham have been letting in a lot of goals at home. I think it's on 4 occasions they've let 2 or more goals in at home. Iwobi has been making returns of late. He's got 2 really good fixtures after this as well. So I actually don't mind someone like Alex Iwobi being in a Scout 11 this week. So I think he could have potentially been in that midfield. There probably isn't anyone else in that midfield that I would have looked at and said he should be in there. I'm just having a quick look at the fixtures right now in front of me just to see if there's anyone that kind of stands out that could have gone it. Maybe Marcus Rashford with the West Ham home game. There's been a lot of talk about him. But I don't think he's done enough just yet to be in a Scout 11. And that is probably kind of it for me in that midfield 5.
Might be Iwobi, I think it might be a nice little shout for Everton.
Yeah, Iwobi is a good one as well. So Iwobi, maybe Rashford, and then I think that's probably where we are at then in that midfield queue. Just a couple of comments that quickly come in as well. I want to bring up PSB's other one about an Arsenal striker that he mentioned in a second, but he did just say he's surprised Cancelo didn't make it. I'm surprised as well, but I'll tell you what I think with these Scout 11s is I think they're based on the budget. Because as you look at the bench, you can see Bueno and Greenwood, who are just like, cheap players. And I think they've decided to go big with Salah, De Bruyne, Kane. And by doing that, they sacrifice Cancelo. And I think they're also looking at it. City have conceded more goals this season than than previous seasons. They've had some games where they've conceded, 3 against Man United, 3 against Newcastle. And they've probably looked at it, Cancelo had a fever in the week and all this sort of stuff is what Pep said. So they probably thought, let's get rid of him for this week and put the money elsewhere. But yeah, I agree. It's someone that, if you aren't captain in Haaland, Cancelo could be someone to look at. So yeah, very good shout. And Steve's just saying you can't do it again. You're getting cold feet, Q, for Salah. So let's go into the front two. They've gone with, we'll quickly cover the bench actually, and then I'll do the front two because the bench has gone Kepa, makes sense as a number 2 keeper if this is your free hit team. Cheap. Chelsea, decent keeper to have. Mark Gahey, again, cheap enabler defender. Southampton at home. Bueno, I think he's like 3.9 million, won't play. So he's kind of irrelevant, and the same as Greenwood at Leeds. So they're obviously just in there so you can get the best players in the 11. Front two, so we've got Harry Kane away to Bournemouth. He's got 7 goals in 6 against Bournemouth. He's scored against both promoted sides this season in Fulham and Nottingham Forest. Will he make it? 3 promoted teams that he scores against Q. Do you think Harry Kane deserves to be in there this week? He's obviously only had 1 game week this season that he hasn't actually returned a goal and assist. So, if you take Haaland away, Kane is the top scoring player in the game this season. And he's probably, he's Spurs' best player and most on-form player as of now in terms of goals and assists. So you think Kane deserves to be in there, or do you think maybe Darwin Núñez could have made it in there instead of him?
No, I think Kane deserves that. I think he's the best option. I think he's probably the best option out of every single player this week. And it pains me to see that the only game he's blanked this season was the game that I owned him. So it's always nice to see that. But I think he's the best option this week by far.
So basically, Q's saying if you do own Kane and Q doesn't, then bring Kane in because he will score in this game. So you don't have Kane, do you, Q?
No, but as I said to you pre-stream, I'm sort of tempted to take Haaland out just for this week, bring Kane in, and then maybe look elsewhere for another City asset and take a -4. So we'll see.
All right. So if you own Kane and Q brings him in, sell him is what we're trying to say with the way Q's been. But we'll see. And then the second one we've got here is Mitrovic, Everton at home. I'm going to pull up some of Mitrovic's stats quickly so I can read them out. Because it just seems like he's been scoring nearly every game week at the moment. So here we go. Mitrovic, Everton. So Mitrovic has scored in his last 3 games. He's also scored in his last, in every single home game this season, bar the Fulham Newcastle game, he has returned. So again, that it's hard to say no to Mitrovic. He's someone that I've got Tony in my team, Ivan Tony, who's been brilliant this season. But he's kind of scored more in, doubles, a hat trick. Then he's blanked and he's blanked and he's blanked. Whereas Mitrovic seems to have been kind of scoring every week. So he rounds up the front 2. Do you think that's right as well?
Yeah, no, I do. I think Mitrovic, we've seen he can easily just go bang and score 3 goals in a week. And I think he has a good amount of upside this week. I don't own him either. So, I'll be deaf riding him this week, but I think he's a good option.
So there we go. We've got a 3-5-2 from the Scout 11. I think for the most part, it's probably about right. They maybe could have gone a 3-4-3 and put Núñez in and maybe dropped Salah. We did suggest the likes of a Wobie, maybe instead of an Eze, and potentially one that is missing from PSB. Jesus is the one missing from the Scout 11. His numbers are way superior compared to Saka and Martinelli. Too bad he hasn't been finishing them. I think he will come good in this game week. And I'll tell you what, that's a very interesting point because Jesus is obviously a brilliant player. And this season, he's just looked brilliant on the eye. He's missed a lot of chances, but he's been getting a lot of third passes, or he's been kind of creating chances without actually scoring them as much himself. But we did see that game week 2 where he got 19 points against Leicester. And these are the types of fixtures. They've obviously got Forest at home, where you look at someone like Jesus and you think this could be a huge game week for him. If you are looking at moving Haaland, if we don't think he's going to play, Jesus could be someone that you could bring in for this game week as well.
That's actually a good idea. Actually, that actually tempts me to go double Arsenal. Yeah,
it's tempted, right? Because you could go the double. Like for me, if I was to move on Haaland, I'd probably look at, say, a Kane, because I've already got the Saka coverage. If I didn't have the Saka coverage, I think Jesus could be a really good shout. But yeah, look, I agree. I think he doesn't quite fit the 11 because of the money. So you could potentially go, maybe you take out like Kane for Jesus, or then you do Mitrovic for Jesus and then downgrade Salah for someone, or even, De Bruyne could be downgraded for like a Wobie, and then Eric Dyer or someone could be upgraded to Cancelo. So there's plenty of options in there. But that's the Scout 11. That is the Scout 11 review from myself and Quinton. So we'll stop sharing that screen now. And now it's time to go through all of the questions that are coming in the comments. So I'm going to start bringing them up now. And before I do, I'm just going to quickly check and see if any other questions have come in elsewhere, which it doesn't look like they have. So what we'll do now, we'll go through the Q&A. Just before we do, just another reminder, if you can just like this video, it would be absolutely awesome. Give the channel a subscribe, keep getting your comments in, and also check out at FPL Matt Day on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and at FPL Amateurs Oz on Instagram, Twitter, and also he has a really good website, Q does as well. So go and check it out for all FPL Amateurs of Oz content. So let's start bringing up some of the questions that come through on the stream. But here was just a comment from Steve McDonald. My biggest quandary is KDB for Salah and captain KDB, or leave Salah and captain him. I'll probably just leave Salah and captain him. What do you reckon, Q?
100%, mate. Don't be a pussy.
There you go. So from the man Q himself, and then we've got one from Tim Buck. Hey, bro, I want Cucurella, but I think he'll sub off 45 minutes. Can you give me other options, please? Is Dallo worth it? I think with Cucurella, I was saying this on last night's stream. It interests me because Chelsea brain Graham Potter in, and Cucurella was so good at Brighton under Graham Potter. And Graham Potter seems to be subbing him off after 45 minutes or 30 minutes last week. I still think you start him, to be honest. I wouldn't bring in Dallo for him. I just think, you brace yourself, hope Cucurella plays at least 60 minutes. But they might not keep a clean sheet because Chelsea haven't had the best defence this season. It's not been the best Chelsea defence. So I'd probably just keep him. And then if he does play another 45 minutes, then I would then just bite the bullet and get rid of him next week. What do you think, Hugh?
Yeah, no, I think definitely holding for this week, just because we do play West Ham, and as much as West Ham, aren't great at the moment, shout out to Damo. I think that they could still score this week, and I think there's a better potential next week and the fixtures after to sort of, have a high upside for there. But I mean, if you want to do it, I like Dallo. He's a good pick.
No, good stuff. And Dallo's been really good for the bonus points this season. But for me, I'd give another week on that one. And when Q says we, he means Manchester United, because he is a Manchester United fan, unfortunately, and I have allowed him on the stream. And then the next comment from Abimanu Vijay, start Andreas Madison, or he said Go Jomez. I think he means Joe Gomez. I think we're going to have to start calling Joe Gomez Go Jomez. He's had a bit of a play on words there. It's tough look, because you look at Go Jomez and you think he's probably going to keep a clean sheet against Leeds. Maybe. Oh, actually, no, I don't know Liverpool's defence. Madison against City. I'd go Andreas against Everton. I always like to pay the premium option, so I'd probably be more tempted to say play Madison, because he's not as much owned by everyone. His ownership's not as high. His free kicks are very good. But Andreas has got the fixture. I'm going to say Madison, Andreas, and then Gomez. Q, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to say, I think I spoke to you off air about Madison. We've seen these fixtures where we don't expect him to score because it's against the good side, but he lives for that stuff and he'll score. And I think he's a good option this week. A nice little differential shout. So I'd have Madison, Andres, then go Jomez after.
No, I like that. And obviously, just to mention, I did mention this in the last night's stream. Madison got, I think it was 16 or 18 points last season against Man City at the Etihad. Quinton actually did have him in his team that day. It was 6-3. And Madison ended up getting you some massive points last season in that game. I think you remember it fondly, Q.
Yeah.
When I think you ended up being in like the top 2,000 or 3,000 in the world after that game, when Madison just smashed you, like, was it 18 points or something ridiculous?
Yeah, or something like that. It was like 15 or 18 points. I think he had 2 goals and 3 bonus, I think, or 2 bonus.
Which is why when you got a quality player like Madison, he's fixture proof because he's just so good on the ball, so good at set pieces. And Leicester do create, chances. Although they've not been great this season, they're still scoring goals. But good question. One coming here from Amir: Pope or Alisson? I think you mean Alisson. Yeah, I guess you mean Alisson from Liverpool. I'd say Pope for me. Actually, no. I'm going to stick with my philosophy of always play the premium asset, which is Alisson. All right, look, I'm not going to sit on the fence. I'm going to say Pope. Go Pope. Liverpool have been conceding a lot of goals this season. But then Leeds have only scored 3 goals in 7 games, and prior to last week, 1 goal in like 6 games or whatever it was. It's tough. It's tough. You know what? I'm going to say Alisson. Actually, go Alisson. Back Alisson. And the reason I'm going to say that is because I'm assuming you've got Trippier. So if you've got Trippier, you're already going to benefit from a Newcastle clean sheet if they do get it. If they don't, you might get a Trippier assist or potentially a goal. And then, you've already got, if they do concede, you've got Pope on your bench and Alisson playing in the late game, which means you could then get a clean sheet in that one. So yeah, I'd back Alisson. I think the Newcastle defensive double up hasn't actually worked that well of late. So I actually would say, yeah, go Alisson. You think Villa will probably attack this game now? No Gerrard, the reins are off. They got 4 goals last week. So yeah, back Alisson for me. What do you think on that one, Q?
It's tough because when you're looking at the price, what's the price point? I think Pope's 5.2, is he? And Alisson's 5.3, 5.5. Sorry,
they're quite similar. I'll quickly check their prices. Let's go with keepers. So we've got Pope. Well, Alisson's 1 point ahead of Pope this season, so it is really a 50-50 call. Pope is 5.4 million. Pope is 5.3 million. Alisson's 15.6% owned. Pope is 20.4% owned. So you would gain a higher rank if Alisson outscores Pope. So
yeah, I think whoever you have, like I couldn't imagine you'd have Pope and Alisson on your team, but whoever you have, I just keep. I wouldn't be trading to another goalkeeper out of those two because it is pretty close. But if you do have both options, I'd probably lean towards Alisson. As Matt said, you'd probably go the premium option over, and they have a good fixture against Leeds as well. And Leeds haven't been setting the world on fire either.
There you go. We think Alisson is the one. And then the comment here just coming from Trons. Dallo looks attractive for fixtures, but the Varane loss is big. So yeah, maybe that could sway people away from Dallo, as United haven't exactly been too flash at the back. Wrestling coming in just said Eze is a great choice as well. Good to hear. I think he is a really good choice this week too. Football Ferreira could come in as well and said Dallo has been very good this season. Yeah, he has. And for FPL, he's had a couple of games where he's hit 3 bonus points, which has been good to see. Wrestling film. This is wrestling film. Sorry, Martin Watchhorn has said question for the end: 2 free transfers. Foden, Maddison out for Salah and Enabler, or one of them and defender for Eze and Trent / Virgil van Dijk. That's a tough one. That is a tough one. For me, I think if you're going to go Salah and an Enabler, I think someone like Salah and Alex Iwobi is probably the one to do on 2 free transfers. You'd have to do that, right? Salah and Iwobi. Hope Haaland isn't playing. Captain Salah. Hope it has a really good score, and then do it on the basis that you think Man City are going to win the game. Maddison's only going to get 2 points, and then even if Foden doesn't score, even if Foden does score a goal, then Salah and Iwobi or whoever the other enabler is, Almiron, outscore Foden and Maddison. So for me, like I'd probably maybe look more for I'd probably keep Foden and Maddison and try and bring in like a Darwin Núñez up front, or a Saka in midfield for Maddison instead, and try and play it that way, because I think Foden is going to be a big goal threat for Man City in this game against Leicester. But yeah, lots to think about. So that's probably how I would play it. Q, what do you think on that, mate? Obviously, it's a pretty interesting scenario to be in.
So the way I look at it, he can either trade out Foden or Maddison, or Foden and Maddison. Because if it's one or the other,
he's got two. He's got two, so he can do Foden and Maddison out for Salah and just an enabler, or he can just do one of those, Foden or Maddison, and then bring in like a midfielder for one of them, and then bring in like a Trent or a Van Dijk in defence.
Yeah, actually, like I'd keep Foden for sure. I think Foden, this could be a fixture that he scores well in, especially the injury cloud around Haaland. And Maddison, as I said, he's a good pick, but Foden for me trumps Maddison. So I'd definitely go that option. And then I think Eze and Trent is a really good option as well. We've seen Trent look a lot better in attack lately. So yeah, no, I like that shout. And against the Leeds, I could definitely see him getting a good return.
Yeah, and he could even go Maddison to Saka, and then like even Robertson at the back for Liverpool. I think a lot of people were speaking about him on last night's pod. So definitely some really good options for yourself there. Question from Vishal. Bowen to Rashford and Bailey to Odegaard. Should I transfer this? If you've got 2 free transfers, do it. If you really want Rashford, I think it makes sense. And then Odegaard, another really good FPL asset. Obviously Bailey, he's hit and miss. You're upgrading him by bringing in Odegaard. Thoughts, Q?
Yeah, no, I like it. Odegaard's looked really good. He's sort of low-key looking good in the games. A lot of people are talking about the Saka and the Jesus, but Odegaard's pretty key to how they attack. And, I could definitely see him scoring a goal or getting an assist this week.
Good stuff. And we are actually, what are we now? 48 minutes until deadline. So, we're starting to get into the, the power hour now. We're still waiting on Haaland news. If anyone's got any Haaland news, if it's in the comments now, I wouldn't have seen, because I haven't seen the new comments, but get as much news in as you can. Everyone can try and help each other out. But yeah, let's go on to some more questions. One that come in from Wing. Just an ongoing question when you guys get to it. Salah or Haaland captain? We are waiting on some Haaland news. I'm going to do a Haaland check now to see if I can find some Haaland news, and I'm going to see what Q says. Q can take this question. What do you think, mate? Salah or Haaland captain?
Salah. As I said, I've been on Salah at the start of the week, and then I'll sort of, looking at Haaland. But, if this injury news, for me, definitely Salah. I think you're going to get 90 minutes from Salah, and at best, maybe 40 minutes from Haaland, but you could definitely get nothing from Haaland. So,
well, there you go. I think for me, look, I'm actually having a look now whilst we're live to see if any Haaland news has come out. So I'm on Blue Moon. It's one of Man City's, I think it's their best sort of top forum. So let's have a look. Okay. There's a lot of rumours on here that Haaland is not going to play. Wow. Huge news. I might have to create a quick banner actually and bring that up and say Haaland is out. There's a lot of Man City fans saying he's not playing. So it sounds like Haaland is out. So I'm going to do a quick Twitter check and see if anything kind of comes out. That's a bit concrete.
Just make sure it's not Boona changing his
FPL
display.
Boona, yeah, we know about what that he's capable of. We've just heard as well. Okay, no, there's all right, let's see if anything else comes up for us. There's sort of nothing concrete on Twitter. The Man City forum is saying that, Haaland might not play. You know what, Wing? I'm going to answer your question. I'm going to say I would captain Salah. There's too much doubt around Haaland right now. I don't think you should be captaining him based on there's just too much doubt about whether or not he is going to play or isn't going to play. So I would be going for Salah. let's go change topic a little bit. Nishesh has just said Firmino or Nunes. I'm going to say Nunes. I don't think Firmino will start this one. But Q, like, what do you think on this one?
I think Nunes probably has the higher upside. He is frustrating because he does miss a lot of chances. But yeah, for me, Nunes, I think, has a bit more upside. I think he'll start. Firmino, I think he'll come on. But I think Nunes is going to do the damage before Firmino comes on.
Okay. I agree with that. And just before we go on to the next question, I am just going to place this up onto the screen. Haaland out of game week 14 is the news we are hearing, according to some of the sources on Blue Moon, a very good Manchester City forum. Haaland out of game week 14. We've got more questions to answer. To go back into Nishesh's question, I think Nunes is the better pick over Firmino. But let's just quickly discuss this, Q. Haaland out of game week 14 is what we are hearing. This is huge because we've now had 2 game weeks of the last 3 where Haaland hasn't actually played, and we've had to change our captains. There was that midweek fixture where we all went, I think it was Salah against West Ham, and then a lot of people went Kane against Man United, and neither of them really did anything. So not having Haaland for that game week didn't actually make a difference. What are your thoughts on this game week, Q, if Haaland doesn't play? Do you think we actually will see some big swings in terms of green arrows, red arrows? Do you think they'll actually make a big difference? Can you see Salah and Kane actually firing, and Jesus and Saka, or do you think it would just be like, a couple of game weeks ago where no Haaland, but it didn't really make a difference anyway?
I think people who are going to captain Salah, I think there might be a big swing because still not a lot of people own him. I think he's still, I'll just double check now. I'm pretty sure he's 31% owned. So there's not going to be a lot of people captaining Salah, whereas there's going to be I'd say a lot of people captaining. Oh, then again, Harry Kane's only 24% owned. So I think actually there could be some decent jumps in ranks this week just because of the 2 probably best candidates this week are both lowly owned.
And who's a better captain, Salah or Kane?
I actually think it's a flip of the coin, to be honest. It's a hard one. I think, do you side of the midfielder because of the more points, or do you side of the player that's been consistent? So it's a very hard decision.
If this was last season, you'd be saying Salah because of the form he was on. But this season, for me, it's probably Harry Kane that still edges that. Question that come in from Brett, FPL Shake and Bake. Worth a -4 to bring Kepa in for Masalia this week. My other keepers awards, I don't really want to start either of them. Mate, you've got the short straw there with your keepers. You know what? I would probably just say play Masalia. Hope that he gets about, because he could, right? Could get, 9 saves, which gives you 3 points. And then if they were to let 4 goals in, so you get 3 points, 1 per save, 2 for playing the game, might potentially be on a bonus point. So that's 6. And then just say that they concede 4 goals, you'd get 2 points anyway. And then if you take a -4, I just don't think it's worth a -4 on a goalkeeper. What do you reckon, Q?
No, I really hate the goalkeeper position. I think I've said it a few times on the stream. It reminds me of the tight end position in NFL fantasy. It's just an absolute plotter of a position. And, some weeks you're going to luck out and get 10 points. Some weeks you're going to get 2 points. And I think the -4 is just, I wouldn't be doing it.
No, I agree. Steve McDonald had come in and said, shake and bake. I'd avoid Kepa as well, mate. Brighton should have scored more of his City last week. And he agrees. I like the fact they create chances yet struggle to score, potential for save points. Vicky has come into the stream. Zaha to Foden is a good move or just an option. I'd keep Zaha this week. Home against Southampton. I think you'd absolutely be kicking yourself. Even if Foden was to score, I still think you'd be kicking yourself if this was the game week that, Zaha comes out and, gets the big points that we've kind of been waiting from him, for the last 3 or 4 weeks. I know he's got a goal in that time and an assist in that time. But with Southampton at home, I think it's you've got to keep Zaha for this one. What do you reckon on that, Q?
That's actually a tough one because I like Foden this week. Maybe just keep Zaha because I do like the fixtures. I think nice little differential as well. I think a lot of people are on Foden at the moment. He's over 35% owned. or 30% owned. But yeah, I think Zaha for me probably this week, but it's a flip of the coin as well, this decision.
No, good stuff. And then Steve McDonald just come in and said, true, Kepa's next three are tough ones. Question coming from Tenzin, Almiron or Zaha. If you've got Zaha already, keep him playing. If you're deciding to bring one of Almiron or Zaha in, I would say bring in Almiron. If you have both of these and you're deciding which one to play and you've got no other choice but to play one of these, I would play Almiron based on form. Q, any sort of thoughts on that one?
That's a tough one as well. If you're doing it for just a free transfer, probably that's a real tough one. Maybe Zaha, I think. I'd probably back Zaha this week over Almiron, but I think another 50-50 call this week.
Well, there you go. That's Q's thoughts on that one. Lexic, who could be a good captain in case if Haaland doesn't play between Kane, Saka. I've also got Almiron. I'd go Kane based on the fact that he's only failed to return in one fixture this season. He's got Bournemouth away. It's a game. He scored 7 goals in 6 appearances. He's scored against both newly promoted teams this season as well. And with Kane, if he gets a goal, he's normally Spurs' most involved player in the game in the match, so he always tends to get 2 to 3 bonus points every single time. So I would probably say Harry Kane from those. Q.
Yeah, I think Kane's probably the best option. I think Saka might be a nice little differential option, but I think we've seen with Kane he's blanked once this year, and in a week that's probably a bit more uncertain now that Haaland's out, you probably just want to take the safest pick, which is Kane, and you're still going to get a nice little rank boost if he does score as well.
Good stuff. Question from Jack Leach. Hi, what should I do as I have Haaland? I can keep him or sub him out for Tony.
Tony
sub him out. Yeah, I don't know if he means sub for Tony, because you could always just bring... you could always just play Haaland and then hope that he doesn't come on and then Tony comes on as the first sub. But if you mean transferring in and bringing in Tony and your other 2 strikers are like Harry Kane and Mitrovic, then I'd probably do it because it sounds like Haaland isn't going to start this game week. Q, any other thoughts on that?
I'd probably start Haaland and have Tony first sub, just because I reckon 80-90 minutes from Tony is probably the same upside as 45 minutes from Haaland. So, but
okay.
I don't think he's going to play. But yeah, I think the best option would be probably start Haaland and have him first sub.
Good stuff. And Steve McDonald said, go Gomez or Cal Jansello. Brilliant comment. It's got to be Cal Jansello or Jansello there. What about you? I think Jansello.
Yeah, Jansello for me.
Jansello. Comment from Shizwan, I think is how you may pronounce your name. Welcome to the stream, mate. Ben White or Luke Shaw until the World Cup, mate. United do have 3 really good fixtures, don't they, actually?
Yeah.
But I did mention last night on the pod that Arsenal have 2 out of 3 really good fixtures. Forest home, Chelsea away, and Wolves away. Wolves don't really score goals. Nottingham Forest don't score 1 away goal all season. Chelsea, okay, Arsenal might concede at that, but again, Chelsea don't score huge amounts of goals this year. So I'd say Ben White for me over Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw just feels like a bit of a pastime at the moment in FPL, where a couple of seasons ago, brilliant asset, but yeah, for me, Luke Shaw just hasn't done it in a long time. I think Ben White is just a better pick.
I actually am going to say Luke Shaw. He's actually
Luke Shaw. Q is wearing a Man United shirt, just so everyone knows.
Non-biased, but he's actually looked really good, especially with his ball delivery into the box. So, for me, I'm going to say Luke Shaw, nice little differential up into the World Cup. And he's going to push for a World Cup spot as well. There's a lot of, competition for those spots. So I think he's going to want to put his best foot forward, which he has done probably the last month. So, yeah, I'm backing Luke Shaw, mate. No bias at all.
Q's gone Shaw, and I've said Ben White. And I'm a Spurs fan, and I've said Ben White. So, yeah, take whatever you want from that. Jude Edwards is coming. Would you take a -4 to take Bowen out for Saka? Thing is, Bowen's got 2 home games after this, so I don't know what the other transfer is. Obviously, you can let me know in the comments. I'd probably just, depending on who you're taking out, really, I'd need to know who the other one is. If the other transfer is kind of a dead rubber player, you know, and then it's kind of like Bowen out and Saka in, then yeah, I'd probably do it. But if you're taking out another good player on the -4 just to bring Saka in, I just wouldn't do the -4, and I'd keep Bowen for next week when they've got home game against Palace and then a home game against Leicester the week after. Especially because Moyes has already said he could potentially play this weekend still, and his ankle injury isn't going to keep him out for too much longer. But yeah, let me know in the comments who the second transfer would be. Q, what do you think on that one?
Yeah, I reckon you could nearly make that back this week. So Bowen could easily score 2 points against United. So you're really needing 6 points from Saka. Yeah, I could see him covering that -4 this week. So yeah, I don't mind that option. And as Matt just alluded to, they have 2 good fixtures out of 3 coming up. So you're going to get your value there. And if you're not going to get the -4 this week, I can definitely see between this week and the Wolves game that you're going to get enough points from Saka.
Good stuff. Another question from Flair. KDB and Solanke to Foden and Firmino. Need one differential in my league, and Firmino seemed like a good shout. I'd probably be avoiding Firmino, mate, because there is a lot of rumours, and we've had a lot of Liverpool fans in this stream tonight, and they've said that Darwin Núñez is the one that you want, and they're not sure Firmino is going to play. I also think it's kind of a case of like, you know, you've already got KDB in there. Is Foden a bit of a sideways move? I'd probably say keep KDB. I'm assuming this is a -4 as well. I just don't think that's worth it. I know you need differentials, but you might be able to find them in other positions with other players. Q, what do you think on this one?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't bring Firmino in. I know when he does start, he does score, but yeah, I just don't think you'd want to go there, especially with Núñez. There's a fair chance Núñez could play 70 minutes. Unless they do change the formation around like they did the other week and play Núñez and Firmino up top, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good for Salah owners, because Salah will be taking the job of the linesman again for the game week, and you know, standing there with the offside flag. This is Wrestling Film. Cheers, gents. Appreciate the feedback anytime, mate. Thanks for tuning in. Good comment here from Trons for MEYT. Tough to keep Aubameyang for weeks in both FPL and UCL. 1.5% owned in FPL. Thinking about Firmino, Darwin, and Wilson. Yeah, again though, Aubameyang is one of them.
I've got some breaking news for you, Matt. Apparently, it's been confirmed that Haaland and Phil Foden won't start for Manchester City.
Foden as well. Where's that come from?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's on Team News and Ticks on Twitter.
Wow,
almost 16k followers. So you'd have to say that they're pretty.
What a joke! Not playing Foden as well. What is wrong with Pep at the moment? I don't get that. Foden's in my team, so that's really annoying me. Let's go to it. Team News and Ticks. Yeah, there we go. Let's see what he says.
That actually makes Alvarez an interesting pick.
It does make Alvarez an interesting pick
because there's surely he starts, because
I can't see anywhere where he said that. Is it actually on his
it's
on the Instagram that he's posted. All right, okay, all right. So for anyone that's just tuned into the stream, we are just reading a leaked lineup. And to be fair, this guy was quite good at the start of the season. I remember using him for game week 1. And he was actually quite good, to be fair. I do recognise this account. I just think it's bizarre that Foden does not get a start after the form he showed. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's obviously very frustrating, you know, for myself who owns Foden. A lot of people in here that own Foden, you know, and have been asking about Foden. Yeah, that is a nightmare. I can't actually see can't see anything further from a tweet. Okay, here we go. Okay. Apparently, it's a fake tweet.
Oh,
But
got me
then,
good.
but no, it's not a fake tweet. Apparently, it's fake news. But the guys, I don't know. I just look at it and think, if Haaland isn't playing, why would Foden not start the game? It just makes no sense to me. But look, we'll see. We'll see what happens. These are all the rumours at the moment. But going back to this, I think Aubameyang, the Brighton game, if Haaland doesn't play this game week, it doesn't look like he's going to.
Is that Boona? Someone said
Aubameyang
it's
could.
Boona.
Okay, there you go. It could be FPL Boona. But yeah, look, I think you could just keep Aubameyang for this one. Aubameyang, Darwin, and Wilson is probably good enough. What do you think on Aubameyang?
I don't mind it. It's just real weird because there's a week I thought that he was going to start, and then all of a sudden he didn't start. So I'm not sure whether he started. Did he start the Europe game?
I think he scored in the week, didn't he, in the Champions League?
Yeah. So I think he must have started. So I'm just not sure. Like, there's a chance that he might not start, and Havertz might start up top.
Yeah, true. Sorry, he didn't score in the week. Havertz did. Aubameyang come off after 75 minutes, and Havertz played the full 90 minutes. So maybe Graham Potter might play both. But I would probably, I'd probably just keep him if it was me. Also, there is rumours that Haaland isn't starting, but he is going to be on the bench. So he could even just come off the bench and score goals and and actually do something. We've seen it happen many a time in FPL where big players have come off the bench and punished us. Steve McDonald come in and said Odegaard very unlucky in the last game, had about 3 clear-cut chances. I think that was just back in response to one of the posters in the comments mentioning they're bringing in Odegaard. Haaland will be benched and come on if City are behind, and also a load of croc signs for Darwin Núñez. Salah at home and Kane away. Good point. Wing, correct answer, Matt and gang. Salah captain as he's got an ankle sprain and it will just take 72 hours just to get the swelling down. His pain is slowly subsiding. So that is, that was going back to his captain pick. Shubham Singh, whom to bench, Dalot, Dyer or Gomez. I'd probably say Dalot is the one to bench for me for United. I think West Ham have more of an attacking threat. I'd play Eric Dyer at Bournemouth and I would play Gomez at home to Leeds. Which one would you bench, Q?
Yeah, I'd probably bench Dalot. But Joe Gomez would probably be a close second. Or Gomez, as we know.
Gomez. Question from Matt Cowling. Andreas or Gahey first sub as a Haaland fullback? It's got to be Andreas. I think we saw last week what he's capable of. He's also playing against Everton. We know how up and down they obviously can be. Their defense has been quite tight this year, but Fulham games always seem to have goals. 2-2 against Liverpool, 3-2 against Forest, 4-1 against Newcastle, 3-2 against Leeds. So I'll be backing Andreas as a first sub in that one. Trons has come and said my starting 11: Guaita, Cancelo plus Trippier, Cucurella. Sorry, I was going to say, who would you start? Sorry, actually, I didn't even ask you that, mate. Out of Andreas or Gahey?
Andreas.
As a first sub, Andreas. Good stuff. Starting 11: Guaita, Cancelo, Trippier, Cucurella, Foden, Zaha, Martinelli, Gordon, Haaland, Tony Aubameyang subs, Ward, Madison, Justin Nako have 1 free transfer and 1 million in the bank. What should I do? Mate, you could probably roll that team, change the captain because it doesn't look like Haaland's going to start. And then you've got Madison as first sub anyway for Haaland. Or you could take a gamble on Haaland to Harry Kane. What do you reckon there, Q?
Yeah, I like the gamble, maybe Haaland to Harry Kane.
Good stuff. All right. What we're going to do is going to bring up the last few comments, and then it will be time for the rest of the stream to end. So if you have got a couple of last minute questions, get them in before we end the stream. If you're new around here, please, if you can like the video, it's really, really appreciated. Give the channel a subscribe as well. If you're new, and you don't want to miss the next video, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. And get your comments in before we wrap up the stream. Welcome to the stream, Shireen. She just says, hey, Matt and Q, hope you guys are well. We're doing well. We're just overloaded with, Man City, real news, fake news, and we're trying to work out what is going on. And Foden info is Duff, guys. It's Bruno. I think he means Boona. So there you go. FPL Boona changed his handle again. That guy is an absolute. To be fair, he's a legend. I really like him. I actually find his stuff really funny. I was going to say he's an absolute kind of trickster, isn't he, in a way? And I love it. I think it's good fun. It's all part of the game. Some people don't like it, but for me, it's all just fun and games. Sorry, that was from Wing as well that mentioned those comments. Shireen said, Q, who's your captain for this week?
Salah, mate. I'll get him another shot.
There you go. He's going back to Salah. He's ready for his heart to get broken maybe again. Vasu's come and said, Anthony or Jesus to start. I would play Jesus. I like Anthony, but I'd play Jesus.
Yeah, I feel bad that you're in that position to make that decision. But yeah, Jesus for me. And heartbreaking for Anthony because I reckon he could score as well.
No, I agree. A comment did come in from Zaki. Sorry, mate. I think it's in Arabic. And I'm not going to be able to answer your question, I'm afraid, mate, as I can't speak the language or read it. So I'm sorry. So if you are able to translate it to English, that would be awesome. Trans just come in. Everyone make sure to like the stream. Thank you, mate. Yeah, if you haven't liked the stream, just like it. Subscribe if you haven't done. I've got a UCL pod coming up this week. There'll be more FPL content throughout the week as well. And these streams were irregular, and Q tends to come on quite often as well as a guest. So yeah, really, really good stuff for those that have tuned in. Sajed said, I buyed Rashford for Madison and Saka for Bowen. Good choice. I think that's a good choice. I think that's a good choice. Q?
Yeah, two good picks.
Two good picks. We've had another question come in from Tron. Ronaldo guaranteed to start, Q? Question mark.
No, I don't. Oh, just depends, I guess, how much Ten Hag hated Anthony's circling on the field. But I think Ronaldo will be on the bench. I think Rashford will start up top this week.
Well, there you go. Some inside info from Mr. Man United, Quinton Dunn, who's wearing his Man United shirt on the pod. So there you go. I agree. I think Ronaldo, he's no guarantee.
I think Rashford starting on the bench is another positive for him to start this week because every game that I think it was the last game they played, he started on the bench in Europe and then come on to the field and started for the Premier League fixture.
Good stuff there from Q. We will stay on the stream for a couple more minutes if any other questions do come in. I'm actually going to go through this Man City forum now and see if I can get some more news that may have come in. All right, so the rumours are there is a team of Edison, Stones, Diaz, Laporte, Cancelo, Rodri, Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden in a central position. And maybe it's Phil Foden and Alvarez together in a 2, or Bernardo, Phil, and Alvarez in a 3. Does this make Foden a captain shout for the game week queue? I'm looking at this. I'm thinking, no Haaland. Does this mean Foden is a captain shout? Like if you look at Foden, his ownership, 28.5% selected, or are you still backing your man Salah, or do we make a last minute change to Foden? Like, what are your thoughts there?
I think he definitely is an option. I think any City asset is an option as a good captaincy pick this week. But for me, I'm probably just going to go in what I'm going to know, what I think will happen this week. And I think Salah's going to be, the best pick this week. But definitely, I think if you do have Foden and with Haaland not playing, great pick, I reckon.
No, good stuff. All right, so a couple more questions. This one I think is Sarr for me. Sarr award for keeper. Jose Sarr away at Brentford I think is a better fixture than Man City at home. Q, who would you pick?
Sarr probably, yeah.
Sarr? Yeah, same here. Darwin and Rashford, I'm getting them for a -4. Yeah, good stuff. I think Rashford's got a good fixture. Darwin's obviously the a good pick for this week. Really like that. Foden in Zaha. Actually, we had this question earlier as well. I wouldn't do it. But even if Foden scores, I think you still want. This is the game you want Zaha for against Southampton. I don't think it's worth taking up Zaha. Do you, Q?
No.
No. Okay. All right, and then Rahul, just with his team: Martinez, Sanchez, Trippier, Cancelo, Shaw, White, Strauch, Mount, Rashford, KDB, Amra, Martinelli, Jesus, Kane, Costa. Planning to transfer out Martinez, Costa, Strout to Pickford, Mitro plus defender. BB, I think. Do you mean bench boost?
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't bench boost, mate. I just don't think it's worth it. You got a good team, but I'd just wait until there's potentially a double game week. Look, there's not a right or wrong time to actually play a bench boost, but I think looking at it, is that Costa? So Martinelli, Costa, Strout to Pickford, Mitro plus defender. So I'm assuming you've either got a -4 or a -8 there. Maybe the bench boot might bring you back some of the points, but yeah, I don't know. I think just get 11 on the park. I should get the strongest 11 that you can. Yeah, I wouldn't be bench boosting it. I don't think you've got strong enough goalkeepers for a bench boost this week. Not 100% keen on Luke Shaw. You're already getting rid of Strauch as well, but I don't think that's worth a bench boost. What do you think, Q?
No, I don't think so.
worth it.
I think Martinez in goals against Newcastle. I think is it Aston Villa have Newcastle, right? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. No, I think there's going to be better weeks for the bench boost. But it's up to you if you go for your gut, because as I say, you feel worse if you go against your gut than if you go for your gut and you're wrong. I think you can live with it then. But for me, I probably wouldn't be doing it this week with that lineup.
I agree. And we had another one. Pope, Dello, Trippier, Cancelo, Rashford, Martinelli, Foden, Almiron, Jesus, Haaland, Kane, subs, Ward, Anthony, Nico Williams, Gilbert, captain, Haaland, vice captain. Any changes? I would change the captain over from Haaland. You've got plenty of players to pick from, but your starting 11's absolutely fine. I'd be rolling a transfer on that. Q, do you think the same?
Yeah, definitely.
I think the same. All right, and then Trons, I'm getting Kane and Darwin for Haaland and Aubameyang done, -4. So he's made another change. You've been a bit like a yo-yo tonight, mate. You've been making transfers and changes everywhere, but I like that. I think that's really good. Because we're not too far from deadline now. We're about 19 minutes. I am just going to start chopping through some of the questions just to get them answered. So if you want to jump in on any of them, Q, just feel free to. Is it too big of a risk to captain Alvarez, or should I keep it between Kane and Salah? I'd still stick between Kane and Salah. Take your pick from that one, Shireen. Matty B, drop Haaland for Perisic or Andreas. It would be Andreas for me. I don't think Perisic is going to play for this game week. Will Firmino start? I'm not a Liverpool fan. Q's clearly not a Liverpool fan, as he's a Man United fan. But we've had a lot of Liverpool fans in this stream tonight saying they are not sure on Firmino. So yeah, it's a bit of a 50-50 there. Vicky's come in and said Andreas or Trossard, whom to start. Ooh, Trossard's been a big game player this season. But I would probably say Andreas, as I like the fixture and his form. And then a question. I changed Dyer for Cancelo. Good choice. I think it's a good choice. Always play your premium option. We've had Anderson or Shaw. I would start. Oh, I'm going to give that one to Q, actually. Q, you can take that. Anderson and Palace or Shaw from Man United.
Sure. I'm still not rating Palace's defense enough to sort of start them every week. I don't mind the plug and play every now and again for good fixtures, but I think long term, Shaw's a better pick. He has that attacking upside over Anderson. I think Anderson will just get you 6 points, but Shaw's has the potential to go 10 points if he gets an assist and they keep the clean.
Good stuff. And then did you both drop Haaland? Not yet. The stream is going to... Q just did. So who did you bring in, Q? Kane?
I just did a -4, got out Edouard and Haaland for Alvarez and Kane.
Big stuff from Q. So Q has dropped him. I haven't done anything yet. The stream will be ending in 2 minutes. So, and I'm not sure. Yeah, Q's ready to get burned. He's ready to get hurt. He's captain Salah again. And then a couple of last questions. Yes, I think Robertson will start. Very good player to own for this week. And then Sajad's come in and said, will Mitrovic give us some points? I think so. He scored in every home game this season. Question given the Man City talk. Mitro for Alvarez -4. No way. FPLIs, I would not. Even if Alvarez scores, it's not worth a -4 when Mitrovic has scored in every home game this season, bar one. And then Tariam, Bowen and Firmino to Darwin and Rashford for a -4 and captain Darwin. I still think there's a lot of Rashford love. I still think you could go like Almiron and Iwobi, to be honest, bring in Darwin and do that. But Yeah, what are your thoughts on Rashford again, Q? Like, do you think he's actually worth bringing in?
Yeah, I do. I think he looked really good when he came off the bench there. He did combine well with Ronaldo, which is a shame. But yeah, I think he looked really good. And he's one of those players where he's going to get chances. It just depends what Rashford shows up, because there's a Rashford that shows up can, be pretty clinical up top there and could bang in 2-3 goals, or there's the Rashford that'll have 6 shots and not get a goal at all. So, but I think
That's
it's
true.
worth the risk. I don't rate West Ham defensively at all. I think they're going to concede this week, and if Rashford is playing up top, I think he's going to score.
Good stuff. And Sajid's just come in and said, thanks everyone for answering my questions, mate. Anytime indeed. And then Wing, thanks guys, brilliant stream, and definitely everyone should subscribe, as no one interacts like Matt and team does. Yeah, thanks mate, really appreciate all the love and the support. Yeah, I think we're going to wrap it up now. There's 15 minutes till deadline. This has been a really, really good deadline stream. Obviously, the big news is Haaland is out of game week 14, is what we're hearing. We're hearing he isn't starting. Doesn't mean he isn't on the bench. And, we've seen it in the past where Salah's come off the bench and got double-digit scores twice down the years. This has happened a lot. So take him out at your own risk. If you are new here and you've tuned into the stream, please give the channel a subscribe if you haven't done. Like this video, even get your comments in after the stream. I will still check them, and I'll be interacting all of the time. Q, any last words? Actually, we'll just quickly bring this up. Matt Collins just bring a question. I think I'm saying not in the squad apparently, so Haaland might not be in the squad. This is huge for FPL. Any last words before we sign off, Q? Is there anything you want to say for game week 14? What to do? What managers should do or shouldn't do?
Pray for me is one point. I'll
so pray for Q.
I think this is the opportunity. If obviously the team news is correct, this is the opportunity to make a move, I think. And like myself, got Kane and Alvarez in, hoping that them two are going to be good picks. But yeah, I think this is the week you take a chance, whether it's a -4 or just the free transfer. Even if you have to transfer Haaland back in next week, I think this is an opportunity to do something and try get some nice boosts.
No, I agree. Wise words from Q. And Steve just said, thanks for stopping my blue tinted efforts to skew my FPL team. Q, like the transfers you've done. Yeah, good stuff. And look, we're going to leave it there. Haaland is out of game week 14. Huge news, considering he has been an absolute constant in FPL this season for the most part, and a pain in the backside for myself and Q early on in the season. Thanks everyone that tuned in. Thanks Quinton for joining the stream. FPL Amateurs Oz. Go check him out on Twitter, Instagram, his website, absolutely everything he's got there. I'm at FPL Matt Day on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I am currently banned from Twitter for 6 days. I'm not even sure why. I can DM, but I can't like, I can't retweet, I can't comment. So if I don't speak to any of you who are tuning in for the next week, I'm not being nasty. It's just I'm randomly banned. So you're going to have to DM me unless Twitter turn it around. I don't know what they're going to do. I will have a Champions League stream next week. So tune in. I'll have some more FPL content throughout the week as well. If you're new here, please give the video a subscribe. The channel a subscribe, sorry. Give the video a like, and just continue to get the comments in even post-stream if you have any questions or just want to talk about the game week. But yeah, we'll leave it there. Thanks everyone for joining, and I will see all of you in the next one. And good luck for game week 14, everyone. We will see you then. Thank you.